souls that we're bringing to the light. From maps to mods to the rigs we drive, we're talking to the folks who keep this farm life alive. It's Farm Sim Talk with BDD. Come pull up a chair and ride along with me. Stories from the makers, the builders of the scene. Farm Sim Talk, where we live the farming dream. He's got questions rolling like a big John Deere, digging deep with modders so their voices we can hear. From giants of the code to the artists painting skies, he's shining up their stories like a brand new combine. It's Farm Sim Talk with BDD. Come pull up a chair and ride along with me. Stories from the makers, the builders of the scene. Farm Sim Talk, where we live the farming dream. From tractors to textures, from silos to sounds, there's a whole crew of heroes making this world go round. So tune in and find out who's behind the screen. Farm Sim Talk's the place to see what farming really means. It's Farm Sim Talk with BDD. Come pull up a chair and ride along with me. Stories from the makers, the builders of the scene. Farm Sim Talk, where we live the farming dream.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is Farm Sim Talk, a show where we get to talk to other creators here in the Farm Sim community and find out a little bit more about them. And tonight I am joined here by OleGrizzly wow, tongue-tied already. OleGrizzly Gaming. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, Dave. How about yourself?
Other than a bit of a stutter going on, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. So, oh my goodness, we are going to start this off strong. I see a bunch of you already out there in the chat. I see Dust Bunny. How you doing, Dust Bunny? Hope you're having a great one so far. Why Not Gaming? We got Farmer Donkey, and there are a few others just lurking out there in the crowd. So thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day so far. Dust Bunny is absolutely right. Words are hard. They are very hard indeed. Oh my goodness. So, Old Grizz, how about you give us a little introduction of who you are and what it is that you do here within the Farm Sim community?
Well, I'm just an old country boy. I'm 57 years old. Was in the trucking industry for 35 plus years. Um, as far as what I do in the community, I just like to play. I like playing Farming Simulator. I started, I think, back in it was FS 15. So been around for a little bit. Still kind of newish to certain things, but I do like to share some of the stuff I do online, obviously, and hopefully there people enjoy it.
Excellent, excellent. And do you want to give any shout outs before we get going here tonight?
Well, the list is a bit big, but um, I'll give a shout out to Dust Bunny, um, Thin Blue Line, Ghost Gaming. Can't forget Rusty Money Gaming, Crust 2, Cousin Skeeter Gaming, Farmer Donkey. There's just a lot of them out there that have it really is a community. You know, I come in kind of as a stranger, and they've all been like really helpful, friendly, welcoming, um, just a really good, really good community.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It's one of the best communities I've ever belonged to. So, yeah, I 100% understand and agree with you. So, how about we get into it? And starting with the first segment here called Digging Up Dirt. This is a segment where we get to know you for you outside of the farm sim life. So, my first question is do you have a job outside of content creation, or is this your primary job?
Um, well, technically, I do have. I'm semi-retired from truck driving. I came home to provide caregiving services for my mom. She's 86 and has been having some issues. So I guess that and farming simulator are more or less what I do. Although, granted, I do occasionally play a couple of other games.
Well, I'm sorry that you're having to go through that, but it's great that you're able to do that, that you're able to, help out your mother well when she's in this time of need.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I am blessed in that particular area. You know, I was able to do so. People that can't.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you, what are some of your hobbies besides farm sim? Do you like to go do hiking, fishing? Do you watch sports?
Well, um, I like to tinker around with wood. Um, I do when I get the opportunity. I do like to go fishing. I spend a lot of time. Well, I say a lot of time. I do spend. We live on about 12 acres where I'm at. So I spend some time out on the property, getting out and touching grass, so to speak. So you know, it's kind of nice to do that. I used to have a hobby that, and I still do tinker around with it, but it's painting miniatures for Warhammer 40K.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah. I got into Warhammer 40K many, many moons ago, and I still tinker around with it now. So
Yeah, that was one of those things that I was kind of circling around and started to get into, but never like dove deep enough into it to really get into it. But I've seen like some of those figurines, and I mean the things that people can do with the painting and
mhm,
the layering and stuff like that. It gets like
yes,
really intense.
it does. It also gets really expensive. So
Yes, I've seen those price tags too.
oh yeah, yeah. But for the most part, yeah. I of course, I'm sure other people, reading and other things like that. I have a few hobbies. So yeah, I keep myself entertained.
Well, that's good. That's good. So, you mentioned that you tinker with some woodworking there. What kind of projects do you work on?
Oh, just simple stuff, occasionally I'll build a bench or a small table or shelving units or, something like that. It just depends. I'm actually working on fitting new cabinets, well, shelving units into my mom's pantry because um, she needs more space. Well, more space to put things, so to speak. So yeah, that's what I'm tinkering with right now.
I gotcha, gotcha. So, is it more kind of like at home projects, or do you do any like more intricate kind of woodworking?
No, I used to, but I don't have I haven't collected my tools back up yet to get back into the routing and, things more intricate design type stuff.
I gotcha, I gotcha. And you mentioned that you like to do some fishing. What kind of fish do you like to go after?
Bass fishing.
Oh, there you go.
I've always loved bass fishing. Um, Now, don't get me wrong. I'll slap a catfish onto a hook any time of the day. It doesn't matter to me. But bass fishing, I really enjoy. I guess you could call it a sport in some aspects. But I really enjoy the fight that a bass will give you.
Oh, absolutely. Now you mentioned catfishing. You haven't done the whole stick your hand in a hole and pull out a catfish with your hand. I forget what is it
No, I don't.
noodling?
Yeah, I don't do noodling.
No.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I've never really tried that. I mean, I've always thought to myself, what if I stick my hand in that hole and there's a gator in there? I live in South Mississippi, so it's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm currently down here in Florida, so I understand
Hmm.
completely. I just completely avoid the water, like going into it kind of thing. I'll go out in the boat and whatnot, but I just don't trust it. You go into the salt water around here and you deal with the sharks, or you go into the fresh water and you deal with gators. Either way, I'm not the top of the food chain, and I don't like it.
Well, I, I don't mind gators as long as I can see them.
Yeah,
That's
that's the problem though. Is oftentimes you can't.
exactly, exactly. So,
They're sneaky little guys.
well, I mean, it's those, and then of course you got the moccasins. We got a lot of water moccasins in Mississippi, and they are really bad tempered at times. So
Yeah, they get to
yeah,
be a bit nasty too.
they can. Yes, sir, they can.
Oof, 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 oof.
Especially in mating season, they seem to be perturbed at all times. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. During mating season, they woke up angry. Oh my goodness,
Yep.
that's.
And there ain't nothing you can do to calm them down either. So
I mean, there's a few things, but it typically ends in one thing getting destroyed, and hopefully it's not you.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I tend to leave those guys alone. Like I say, I've seen like I've seen people on TV noodling and stuff like that, and it's like good on you. Personally, where I'm at, I'm not trying it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Like I said, it's one of those where living in Florida, we've got a lot of the critters that will hurt you and all that stuff, and it's just one of those. It's like, I'm just gonna stick around at my house, unless
Yeah,
there's like
yeah,
very specific ways of protecting myself from those elements. I'm just gonna stay at home. It's safe.
yeah. I mean, it does make sense. I mean, and besides, it's your house. All your stuff's there. Why would you need to go out
Exactly.
and do other stuff?
Oh, but yeah, you mentioned catfish and you mentioned bass fishing. I'm originally
Hmm.
from the state of Michigan, and one of the
Oh, okay.
greatest things I used to go out and do when I used to go fishing was going out and walleye fish. Do y'all have walleye there in Mississippi?
I've never actually fished for them. I don't know that we do. I mean, it's a possibility. I've never fished for them. My main things for fishing were bass, trout, and catfish. That was the
Oh,
three things I always fished for. So
trout's good fishing too. But if you ever get the opportunity, if you're ever up in the north, up there in like Michigan, Wisconsin, all that, go to the lakes up there and get a hold of a good walleye. Fry it up, either do
mm,
a little pan fry or my personal favorite is just have a little campfire roaring, just cook it over the fire and I don't think you'll turn back.
oh, all right. Well, I don't know. I do have a buddy that lives up around Waterford, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. He's a truck driver as well, and I've been up that area. I actually worked out of Waterford for a company that was up there for a while. So yeah, I mean, Michigan's a nice place, except during the winter. I don't really like it during the winter.
Yeah, no, that's typically everybody's complaint is the winters can be a little bit much.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the lakes up there tend to create their own weather. So,
That they do. We were actually where I lived. We were actually towards the eastern portion of the state, so we were down in the lower peninsula, in a little. Well, we were a little town called Ann Arbor. It wasn't a little town, Ann Arbor, but
I know where that's
I.
at.
Oh, you know where that's at. So you know my old stomping grounds.
Well, I was a truck driver for many, many moons. So,
So
yeah,
you're.
I know where Ann Arbor is. I've delivered there before.
Oh man, bless you, because holy smokes, I couldn't imagine driving a big rig out there in Ann Arbor. I would think I'd go bald just ripping my hair out.
Yeah, well, uh, sometimes you want to do that. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, especially considering all the not just like the natural obstacles, like if you're in a big city or whatnot, and you're making delivery there, but just all the people that are around there. And I don't know what it is, but when I'm driving personally, I try and be as graceful to the truck drivers on the road as possible. I give them as much room as they need. I try and pay attention to what it is that they're doing, because I realize I'm not the biggest thing on the road. And if I anger them, they've got a, I always compare, my car as a, 2-ton bullet kind of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
But they're more like an 80-ton bullet kind of thing. So it's, I'm not going
Yeah,
to tangle with
yeah,
them.
yeah. It's like shooting a 22 and shooting a cannon.
It, you
It's a little bit of
nailed it
difference
on,
there.
you nailed it right on the head right there. So yeah, it's one of those that I try not to get in their way. I try and give them the space that they need. And number one, they're doing their job, and their job is hard enough as it is. They don't need some Yahoo like me, making them mad or getting in their way.
Well, that's the one thing about I've learned in 35 years that, you know, um, we as truck drivers are supposed to be professionals. That's what we do for a living, you know. So we need to be paying attention to everything that's going around, like going on around us. The way I was taught and the way I always drove was that you don't trust anybody on the road and you give room and all these other things. You got to watch everybody. I mean, it's a constant. It's not so much that like the driving's not what's so tiring. It's the constant mental watching out for everybody else that wears you down at the end of the day. Because you just never know. You never. I mean, like indicators were put on a vehicle for a reason, and people don't use them, so you have no idea when they're going to move over or any of that. So yeah, it's trucking has changed a lot in the years. So, but we do appreciate people that give us that little bit of extra room or watch when we actually turn our turn signal on so that we can move and go around someone that's slow. I mean, I do anyway. I don't know about some of these younger truck drivers, but
Yeah, no,
I didn't
it's
train them.
it's one of those where yeah, I tend to try and be, generally respectful person kind of thing. It's one of those that if I'm shown respect, I give respect, and I tend to give respect before anything else kind of thing. And that includes being on the road and all that stuff. Um, but there are definitely times where I can get a little bit squirrely behind the wheel. So it's just one of those where I know my limits, and it's one of those where I just kind of know that one of those limits is not being the biggest vehicle on the road. So that's where I
Right,
just kind of reel myself in. It's like, okay, when it comes to the truckers, always give them, always give them the right of way, always, or at least as best as I can, within reason kind of thing.
right,
Um,
right.
if I see I'm coming up on somebody at 80 miles an hour and the trucker is going 65 or something like that, and all of a sudden they kick on their signal and I got to jam the brakes, yeah, I'm gonna kind of go by them kind of thing. But for the most part, do what you can. But so let me ask you this: do you like to watch movies or television?
Um, there are a couple of shows that I like to watch. I like what is it? The Rookie
Oh, with
with Nathan
Nathan.
Fillion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like watching that. Of course, I watched Yellowstone. I watched Halo.
Okay.
I'm trying to watch. I'm trying to fit in some time to watch the Fallout series that's on Amazon Prime. Um, because I play Fallout. Like I played Fallout 3, I played Fallout 4, I've played Fallout 76. Uh, when I'm 68 or something like that, I think they'll bring out the newest Fallout. Um, but yeah, movie wise, I haven't really watched a movie per se in a while. Although I watched Die Hard for Christmas because it's a Christmas movie.
You know what? I literally got into an argument with my wife about that one, and I said that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and she's like,
It is.
"Uh-uh, it's not. It's not a Christmas movie. Even Bruce Willis says it's not a Christmas movie. I don't care what the actor said that was in it. I say it's a
It
Christmas movie, and
happens at Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. Thank you.
exactly. Just because it doesn't have, Santa Claus and a bunch of elves go prancing around the whole stage doesn't mean that it's not Christmas."
Exactly. Thank you. I mean, I'm perfectly reasonable about the whole thing. It's a Christmas movie, you know. I mean, uh, there's no use arguing. To me, is a Christmas movie, and if I want it to have to be one of the Christmas movies I watch. Well, fortunately, I can do that because I'm single. So
Well, and that's it exactly. It's one of those where, um, to each their own kind of thing.
exactly.
If you want to call it a Christmas movie, then hey, more power to you. But I never personally, I never understood the whole kind of argument about, oh, it's a Christmas movie. It's not. Like, who cares? At the end of the day, who cares?
Well,
But I mean, I even got into it with my wife. It's like, it's not a Christmas. Like she got so vehement. Even Bruce Willis says it's not a Christmas movie. I'm like, okay, calm down.
oh well. You probably shouldn't have said the calm down bit because normally that just makes it worse.
Always
Just
makes it
saying.
worse.
You know, that's years of experience talking there.
Oh, I've got a few years of experience myself, and I've experienced the bad side of the calm down argument. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
it tends to
Yeah.
only come out when it's more of a horseplay argument than anything.
Oh, I fully understand that. It's usually when I want to stir is when I say calm down.
That's yep, that's it. That's it.
Or, if I want to stir her up a little bit, I'll just say, is it that time of the month or something with you? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
that'll start one off real quick.
Oh man.
It
But
used to, anyway.
so you mentioned the rookie with Nathan Fillion. Have you
Yeah.
happened to see the television show called Firefly?
Yes, I watched the entire series actually.
Oh, such a good one. That's honestly, I think
Oh,
that's
it
one of his
was.
best series.
Yeah, I mean, like I watched Castle obviously because he was in it.
Hmm.
And then when Firefly came out, I was really disappointed they canceled that show. It was quite good. Maybe it was a little ahead of its time, to be honest. But did you see the movie that kind of followed it up, the Serenity?
Yes, Serenity. Yes.
Yeah, kind
It
of tied
was
it all off.
a giant middle finger to the fan base, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, I I, I don't know. I enjoyed I enjoyed it for what it was, basically.
Hmm.
You know, it's like a lot of people with. It's like when games come out, people say, "Oh, well, they could have done this or they could have done that better or whatever." Well, you know, if I can get 100 hours into a game, okay. I mean, it's worth it. If I can only get 10 hours into it, then yeah, it probably wasn't worth it to me. So, um, if you get enjoyment out of it though, I think that, it was worth your time, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely. And when I say that it was a giant middle finger, like I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but it
Mm,
was one of those that the studio that made it specifically made it as because of the backlash that they got for canceling the
oh yeah.
series,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they basically, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it, they ended up, ending like two of the main characters in the show.
Yes.
So there was
Yes.
no going beyond that in the series. So there's like no way of starting the show back up in the future
No.
unless they completely retcon that whole movie and just kind of push it into the ash heap kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that was disappointing. Um, I wasn't impressed, but again, I enjoyed it for what it was. So, and I kind of knew that it wouldn't come back no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, um, it's one of those situations where it's like EA back in the day. I used to play this game on that Electronic Arts had, and it was called Earth Above and Beyond is what was the name of the game, and I really enjoyed that game. But EA just out of the blue decided to shut down. Um, they claimed that it was because it wasn't doing as well as it they needed to do and everything. It's like, well, you're idiots because you haven't even advertised it. Literally, the game was only getting word of mouth, and it had over like 5,000 people playing it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but they shut down the servers. They put it in the sunset. Um, and I was perturbed with EA for a very long time, meaning I didn't buy any EA product for, see, what was Battlefield Bad Company 2. That was the last EA product I bought until I bought Battlefield 6.
Oh wow. So yeah, you went a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
I personally have my gripes against EA, but that's for a whole load of other reasons. But
Well,
we don't have
I
to
have
get into
I
it.
have gripes against several different gaming companies. I mean, what do you do though? I mean, at the end of the day, they're all basically the same. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's like I had a little bit of a rant the other day about Giants, So
I gotcha, I gotcha. So, what would you say would be your favorite movie and television show?
um, favorite movie, man, that is a tough one because there's been so many good movies. Um, I guess the original Star Wars
Oh,
would
very nice.
would have
So,
been because I actually saw the first one in the movie theaters. Um, that tells you how old I am. I actually watched that in the movie theaters. And I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that would probably be pretty high ranking up on my list of favorite movies.
so
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
as far as TV shows, um, that's kind of a tough one because I don't like over the years I haven't watched a lot of TV shows, but The one that stands out to me the most would probably be um, Battlestar Galactica
Okay, okay. So you a bit of
because
a sci-fi fan, or?
I'm a big sci-fi fan. Like I like all different types of genres of like movies and books and TV shows and everything else, but I've always been a sci-fi fan. And I actually watched the original Battlestar Galactica, and then when the new one came out, um, yeah, I watched it and I was fairly impressed, to be quite honest. So yeah, I think I'd have to put that as my favorite TV show.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you mentioned Star Wars, and I'm also a pretty big Star Wars fan. Not so much of the new stuff. Some of the new stuff,
No, the new
like
stuff.
pick and choose, but the new stuff for the most part, especially the movies, not so much. But
Well, I will give them props on Rogue One. I actually did enjoy Rogue One.
yes, yes, absolutely. I
That I'll
will.
give them props on. The of the new ones that we're talking about, that one I will definitely give them props on. Rogue One was actually a good movie.
Yes, I will 100% agree with you there. Um, but for all the Star Wars fans out there, every time it's brought up during the show here, I always ask um, the question I'm about to ask, which is, what is the oddest or weirdest movie that you have seen throughout your time? And it will lead into something. So I'll ask that question first, and then we'll lead into the follow up.
The weirdest movie I ever saw,
Mm-hmm.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Nice. I gotcha. 42, 42.
42. Yes, 42.
So the reason I asked that question, and especially kind of take note when it comes to the whole Star Wars reference that you put out there, was are you familiar with the Star Wars Holiday Special?
Do what?
So if you are ever wanting to be absolutely tortured, like darn near as close as you'll get to waterboarding, um, uh, look up on Google, on YouTube, the Star Wars Holiday Special. Back after the original Star Wars took place and was out in theaters
Mhm,
and all that stuff, and was such a huge
mhm.
blockbuster, and um,
Yeah.
the original cast. So we're talking Mark Hamill and
Mhm.
why do I always forget her name? Um, Played Leia.
Yeah.
But there was
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher. Thank you. Always forget her name. Harrison Ford. All the original
Harrison Ford, yeah.
characters, including George
Yep.
Lucas, made a holiday special for Star Wars. And when I tell you that it is an absolute train wreck, it is a disaster of a show. Like I said, all the original cast, all the like the director, the whole nine yards, but it was a made for TV holiday special, and it was awful. And they had like even additional characters in there who were very big name people, like B. Arthur was in there from Golden Girls. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
just tons of additional supporting cast,
So
and
I'm
so
just gonna
bad.
put it out there for you, Dave. I'm not a glutton for punishment. If I am going to punish myself, I'll just go back into my game saves I currently have.
I gotcha, I gotcha. And trust me, I don't blame you a bit. I don't blame you a bit. It's one of those
Or
where
failing that, if I really, really want to be punished, I'll just pick up the phone and call my ex-wife. So, and
that
neither that second one definitely doesn't appeal to me at all. So, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
well, I'll
But
tell you, I'll tell you
yeah, we're
this
not
much.
we're not going to do the holiday special thing. That just in and of itself, you just saying the Star Wars Christmas holiday special, whatever it was, just sounds wrong.
Oh, it is. It's absolutely wrong. But I tell you what, even the holiday
Very
special,
cringeworthy.
Very cringeworthy. It sounds like a step above having to get a hold of the ex-wife. So, that might be
Yeah,
a
mhm,
treat compared to the other one, but
yeah,
that
well,
being put
fortunately,
aside.
I don't have to talk to her anymore, so it's fine. Yeah,
But no, it's one of those where whenever I talk to a fellow Star Wars fan, I always bring that one up just because
yeah,
it's one of those that there's a reason why not a lot of people know about it, and I always bring it up because it is that bad, and it's
yeah,
surprisingly that bad because, like I said, all the original people, George Lucas included, were all a part in there, and it's so bad. Like even the makeup, like they called in the D Squad for that one. Like Mark
wow,
Hamill,
okay,
if you look at just a still image of him, like it just looks like somebody went in and
yeah,
just smeared a bunch of makeup on all at once. Like basically took like a painter's roller and just rolled it on. It was that bad.
okay, well, that actually sounds kind of amusing, but anyway.
But no, anyways, I'll go ahead and dive off of that one because yeah, it's just I
Yeah,
like I said, I always bring it up just because it's
yeah.
something that has been kind of a memory hold, and it's always good to let
Well,
other fellow Star
I
Wars
I s
fans know.
I seem to recall, like, vaguely hearing of that before, but I've never watched it. Because, like I say, to me, if it sounds atrocious to me now, I probably would have thought back then there no, just no. So, but yeah, like the strangest one, like I was saying, was Hitchhikers, um, Guide to the Galaxy. That well, I guess it's not the strangest, but it 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 took a minute for me to wrap my mind around it. The British humor is something that you kind of have to get used to, if you know what I mean.
Well, have you ever read the book?
No, actually, I've never read the book, so
So I've
only saw the movie.
I only saw the movie too, and I've talked to several people who've read the book, and they said that basically, if you haven't read the book, there's no way that you'll understand the entirety of the actual movie. It's so deep in the lore of the book that the
Yeah,
movie itself does it no justice, kind of thing.
well, I mean that's fair. I mean, how many books have we had that have been made into movies that the movie didn't do the book justice? You know what I mean?
Well, and it's not even like doing it, maybe doing it justice was the wrong word, but it's just that there's so many references to the book that you
Mm,
don't pick up on. There's no way you can actually follow the storyline because there's so much referencing the book.
yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, at some point, I think the books are actually on my to read list. I have a to read list, so I will eventually get there before I go to the wherever I'm going, great beyond. So,
so, what would you say your favorite book is?
oh man, um, yeah, that's a hard call. You know, I grew up in a time of Isaac Asimov, and several other science fiction writers, to mention fiction like Robert Jordan, David Eddings, just, and then that's not even going into the D&D side of things. D&D books like the Spellfire books. Who is it that writes Drizzt Stewart? And
Oh,
can't remember his name. It but I mean, like, as I said, I read so many different genres, you know, that it's hard for me to like stop and just sit down and say, okay, this is my favorite book because there's so many really good books. I mean, um, I think it's a hard call. I would have to say the trilogy with Dritz Do'Urden, the very first one. I think he's added more onto that at this point. I don't remember, but I originally read those many many moons ago, and I've never forgotten them. So to me, um, reading a book and it sticking with you, 20 years later, it's got to be good. You know what I mean? But then again, like I have a soft spot for David Eddings, the Belgariad series, Robert Jordan, Wheel of Time. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many good ones. It's really really hard to do that.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorites from growing up was Of Mice and Men, and it was specifically one line in that book that really kind of caught me off guard, and it was, and to this day I can still quote it. It's the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. And I don't know
Yes.
what it was about it that really kind of stuck with me, but that quote just like cemented itself into my brain. And to this day, I mean, probably more than 20 years later, I can still remember it and I can still remember that book to this day. And there's almost no bit of content that I can remember that vividly than that book.
Well, I mean, I've read that book as well, and uh, many times have quoted of the planets of mice and men. Um, and a lot of people don't even know where that comes from. So, um, like I said, there's just so many different books that, I mean, The Art of War. I mean, have you read it?
That one I
I
have
mean,
not.
I've read that book. So many quotable quotes in that one. There's just so many books. It's really, to me, it's hard to sit down and say, okay, well, this is my favorite because then I'm like, but what about this or what about that or what about the other thing? There's I don't know. It's like I said, I love books. I love reading. Um, like I said, I love all genres, fiction, nonfiction, sci-fi, whatever. Heck, I've even read romance books. I mean, it actually had a really good plot to it. Um, so yeah, I think everyone should read. Like it's one of my big things. Like when my kids were growing up, I did everything in my power to get them into reading. Like really get them interested in reading something. To me, it didn't matter what necessarily it was, as long as they were interested in reading. The the other stuff, like getting into things like The Art of War or To Kill a Mockingbird or any other book, Moby Dick, whatever, that could come later. Just as long as I could interest them in actually reading and grow their love of read, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's something that, I definitely want to instill in my kids is, getting them into reading, keeping them away from, like the television and the phones and the iPads, all the technology stuff, keep them away from that stuff as long as possible and get them into reading because so much can be gathered just from reading. Even if you're reading like the fantasy novels and stuff like that, like you can get so much information just from that and extrapolate into real world experiences kind of thing. It's
Right.
it's crazy. But
Exactly.
you put them in front of like televisions or phones and all that stuff, like you're getting like TikTok or YouTube reels or stuff like that, that 1 minute kind of snap of nothingness kind of thing. And it's like, nope, they're not going to learn a thing.
Well, and the sad bit about it is if you look at some of the TikToks, like I've seen some of them saying, I don't have TikTok, but I've actually seen it come up on my like YouTube feed. It's like, um, this is how you fix um a starter, and it's like, that's not how you fix a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Read a book, dude. That is not how you fix a starter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, get
Besides, I mean, like one of them was, I can't remember. There was one that popped up and said, "This is how you fix a starter," and they were removing the alternator, and I'm thinking, okay, if you say so. I just started laughing.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's so wild when you see, just that kind of pure absurdity. Like there's been a few of those kind of things that have come across my feed. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to try that just to see. And one in particular that burned me here recently. Um so my wife and I, whenever we do like taco night or here lately we haven't done taco night because she's not huge in tacos, but we've been doing these like they're a sweet potato bowl. So instead of like having rice or something like that, you use like sweet potatoes and then you put all your taco fixings on top of it. And one of the things that we've heard, because for some reason our local stores haven't been getting good avocados here lately, they've been like stones. They're so underripened. We heard that if you take hot water and you pour it over top of an avocado, it softens it to where you can actually use it in your recipe. So we're like, okay, we'll try it. And poured the hot water in, and nope. Nope. It only turned the water pink, and the avocado was still hard as a rock. And yeah, it was just an absolute disaster. It's like, okay, we'll chalk that one up in the that didn't work category. Or if you're at all familiar with the show Mythbusters, busted.
Uh, yeah, I've seen MythBusters. Um, yeah, I agree. Just I would rather people get their information from reliable sources. And if you read a book, most of the time, nonfiction book on mechanics or mechanical engineering or whatever you want to, whatever subject, you're going to get facts, not fiction, or somebody's opinion. Um, you know, so that's one of the reasons I wanted my kids to be able to read. You know, I was talking to Dust Bunny the other night, and we were talking about how smartphones have not made us smarter. It used to be that I had every number that I needed to know memorized. Now somebody asks me what so and so's number is, I gotta look at my phone.
Yep.
Um, back in the 50s, they gave you a manual when you bought your car on how to adjust the valves. Now they give you a manual that tells you not to drink the battery acid. I mean, you know, it's just sad.
Oh, that just reminded me of like all the silly warnings and stuff that are out there, like the McDonald's, hot coffee is
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah, well, that's because they got sued and
Yep.
blah blah blah, and then some judge somewhere said, "Oh yeah, you have to pay this person because they spilled." I mean, who goes to McDonald's and orders? I mean, back in that time when that lawsuit came up, there wasn't all this iced coffee stuff. When you went and you ordered coffee, it was hot.
Yeah,
You don't
no.
order a coffee cold. You know what I mean? Like back then, you didn't order a coffee cold. So logically, you would think to yourself, okay, I ordered coffee. It's going to be hot. I probably shouldn't put this between my legs. You know, just common sense, right?
One of the
But
things I
apparently the judge didn't agree with that and said, "Yeah, you owe her money." And it's like now all this wonderful litigation.
that's the one thing I've always said is that common sense is not too common nowadays.
Well, it used to be,
Used to be,
but
absolutely.
then again, you know, it's the United States and several other countries around the world have done away with Darwin's, you know, survival of the fittest.
Mm-hmm.
Now we basically protect the idiots.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Uh,
So yeah, um, but yeah, like I say, I think reading is something that every man, woman, and child should know how to do. And if you want to know something about fixing your car, well, look it up. It's probably in a book. Try the nonfiction section though.
Absolutely. 100% couldn't agree with you more. So let me ask you this. So let's say one day you were not able to create content. Let's say the device that you use broke down, you had no ways of replacing it. What would you do in its place?
Hmm. Like, what would I okay, maybe I'm not understanding the question. So my computer just blanked,
Mm-hmm.
got a blue screen of death, and I have no way of producing any content.
Correct.
What would I do?
What would you do instead of creating content? So if that was no longer an option to you anymore, what else would you do to kind of fill the time?
Hmm, I'd probably look into doing more woodwork. Yeah, might even make a business of it. I don't know.
Gotcha, gotcha. And has it always been a dream of yours to be a content creator, or do you feel like you just kind of fell into it?
Um, I kind of just fell into it, to be quite honest. A friend of mine, he has his own YouTube channel, and he's all he's like I always said. He says, he keeps telling me, he's like, well, you should do it. You should do it. Find something you like, you do it. And then this situation came up, and I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. So um, and I enjoy it, and it also gives me uh, a little bit of peace of mind, and hopefully I am able to entertain people as well as I'm a little pedantic, like when I build my homesteads or my farms or whatever, and I like to plan them out and map out how I do it. And I like to think to myself, okay, if this was real life and I was on this farm, how would I do this? Because I'm not going to, I'm not going to throw it hodgepodge everywhere, right? I'm not going to throw a barn down right over the top of the creek. I'm not going to just throw it anywhere. I've got to think about, okay, am I going to be able to fit a harvester through here? Am I going to be able to fit, an 18 wheeler through here? Maybe, if it gets too busy, I gotta get an 18 wheeler. I got to be able to fit it through there, etc. and so on. Um, yeah, I, I don't know. To me, I think though that yeah, I kind of fell into it and I'm really enjoying it. I've met some fantastic people. The community is really great. So yeah, hopefully I'll stick around for a while and my computer doesn't blow up. That would be bad.
Oh, absolutely. So you mentioned that you were a truck driver for over 30 years. Um, and in that time, I'm sure you traveled to all sorts of places across the country. Would you say that you kind of touched in almost all 50 states, or where all did you go in that time?
I have been into every single state in the continental U.S. Several times. When I first started out, I was on a run from Mississippi to California, back to Atlanta, and back to Mississippi in a week.
Wow.
Yeah, people can say that can't be done. I can tell you with all seriousness, it can.
So would you
We're
say
not
that
going to say that it's legal. We're just saying it can be done.
a lot of caffeine and a lot of speed?
Uh, a lot of caffeine because it wasn't so much the speed because well, I mean, you are. I mean, I'm not saying I've never speeded. That would be a lie. But it was more, staying awake, 2 hours of sleep a night type of thing. Pushing to get the loads done. But you know, a lot of I mean, when you're younger, I mean, this is I'm talking about when I was 21, 22, 23. 2 hours of sleep a night. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, you can handle it. Doing it at my age now, yeah, no, no, that would not work. If I don't get 4 hours of sleep a night, I live up to my name. Let's put it that way.
So, would you say that you like to travel?
Well, okay. So when I was growing up, now guys, you got to remember I'm 57. So we're talking about 1988, 89, 90, somewhere up in there. Um, when I was growing up, there were three options in the state of Mississippi. If you wanted to make money, you had two options, or you had a third option. You could go to college, but that costs money. So the other two options were you could go into truck driving and make money, or you could go offshore to do offshore drilling. Now, I love the water, but being stuck out in the middle of the ocean on a platform with a bunch of other guys just did not sound like a lot of fun to me. So I chose truck driving. At first, it was to make money. Um, and then I'll be honest with you, once it kind of gets into your blood, that's it. You're done. You are now a prisoner of the highway. There's no other real way to describe it. You actually enjoy the freedom that you have. You got nobody looking over your shoulder. I mean, back when I started, it was you. You were out there, and you were the one that was making the calls. So when you got to a delivery or a pickup point, um, it was you. These days, um, it can still be you. Like there's nobody actually in the truck with you. It's just you. We have in-cab communications. Um, you have GPS, so you got GPS tracking. That's something that the shippers and receivers want because they want a GPS. They want to know where their shipment is, so to speak, in real time. Because God forbid you tell them it's going to be there and they accept that you know what you're doing. Um, but yeah, I have been to just about every major city and a lot of the smaller ones in every state in the continental U.S.
So, what was your favorite place to go to when you were driving?
Home.
Good answer.
The only answer because you spend so much time out there on the road. It's like somebody asks you where do you go on vacation? Home. I mean, I've just spent, 5 months out on the road being everywhere else but home. So yeah, home is where I want to go for vacation.
Now, when you were driving, did you have like a sleeper cab, or did you have to catch like hotels and stuff?
No, I've always had sleeper cabs.
That's good. That's good. And let me ask you this: if money was no object, where would be like the ultimate travel destination spot for you? Where would you want to go for like a vacation?
I don't really know, to be quite honest. I mean, I've considered like the Philippines actually, because apparently the temperature there year round is somewhat similar to the temperature here in South Mississippi. During the milder months, apparently it does get warm down there, but it's the humidity that is basically about like the South. But they have beaches, lots of them apparently, and I do like beaches. I like the ocean. I actually enjoy being around the ocean. So yeah, probably the Philippines.
So we were talking about fishing earlier. Did you do any like ocean fishing?
I have never actually gone out ocean fishing. I had a buddy of mine, a very good friend of mine, that was down in Pensacola, Florida, and we had set up to do some deep sea fishing. Unfortunately, he passed away before we could get that done.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So yeah, well, unfortunately, these things happen, especially as you get older.
No, absolutely. I tell you what, I highly recommend if you ever get an opportunity to just go buy yourself a charter and just go out on the ocean. And if you ever get the opportunity, go grouper fishing because, oh man, not only is it tons of fun, but it's one of those that some amazing, amazing fish. If you like I mean, you can pretty much buy grouper, like grouper sandwiches at any restaurant, down here in Florida in the South in general. But yeah, if you ever get an opportunity to go fishing for it, oh man, that is one heck of a fight. You'll wear yourself out in a heartbeat doing it.
Well, it probably wouldn't take much. I am 57, so
But you're also kind of surprised too because it's one of those. It's like you hook onto to a monster like that, and it's like, oh yeah, I got the power for this. You might be regretting it afterwards, but you find a way through it.
well, yeah. I mean, it's well, I mean, it's working on a farm. If you ever worked on a farm, you know all about that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those situations that it's you, and you're the only one that can do what you got to do, and yeah, you might be sore at the end of the day, but you got to get her done because ain't nobody else gonna do it. So yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm
So
not saying I won't try it, but we shall see. Uh, got other things on the agenda at the moment, but I'll have it. It's on my agenda. I have planned on doing it.
yeah, well, like I said, if you ever get a chance, definitely book yourself a charter and go out there and have a good old time with it. As a matter of fact, many years ago, my father and I we booked a charter out just south of here, and we ended up going out and we mostly caught oh goodness, red snapper, or grunts. Grunts were the big one that we were catching out there, and that was a lot of fun because every time you pull them out of the water, they start actually like grunting at you. So that was an interesting experience. But but yeah, we hooked a couple of grouper on that trip, and oh my goodness, that was a fight. That was a big fight because they're just sitting there and it's like they got stamina for days. It feels like.
Mm, yeah, I'm not. I don't have stamina for days.
Well,
Not anymore.
and that's one of those that you just kind of, set the reel down, and you just like, you don't set it down, but you like just prop it up and you just kind of take a rest kind of thing in between like bursts, because they will like
Oh, okay.
stop. And when they stop, that's when you just kind of, okay, start gently reeling them in. And, once you start feeling
Mhm.
them again,
Yeah.
you just kind of hold still and, let them tire themselves back out, and you reel them up a little more, and just, it's one of those, it's all in the fight kind of thing.
Alright, alright. I mean, I can live with that.
But let me ask you this: what would you say inspires or motivates you in life?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, you know, for the longest time, I just didn't really have. I don't know. It's hard to answer that. Um, a lot of things in my life have happened, and some of them were not so great, and some of them were absolutely fantastic. I think at the end of the day, though, that the reason I keep going and don't fall down, so to speak, or if I do fall down, I keep getting back up, is because God put me here for a reason. And people might not believe in God, but I do. I don't know what that reason was. So until I finish this life and He tells me it's over, I got to keep going because I don't know if I'm completed what He's wanted me to do yet. So
That's, you know what,
that's what keeps me motivated.
and that's a great way to look at things. One of those that you can only take life one day at a time, and you gotta do what you got to do in order to you know make sure that you're living to the fullest.
Well, I back when I was younger, I thought I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I can assure you, I was not. That 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 I figured that out pretty quickly. Now I know I'm not 10 foot tall and bulletproof, but even so, it's sort of one of those situations that when you're younger, you can get up, you can go and go and go and go, and these days I can go, but I don't go quite as fast. I still get everything done that I used to do. It just takes me a little bit longer. But like I said, I think everybody has a purpose in life. I can't tell you or anybody else what that purpose might be, but at the end of the day, you have one. I firmly believe that. You just got to keep going until you get it done. You might not know what it is. You might do it and not even know it, but you just got to keep going, you know? I mean, what other choice is there? To me, there isn't any other choice to, except just to get up and go.
I couldn't agree with you more. So, what's one thing that people are generally surprised to find out about you?
Um, I have a brain. I mean, people hear me talk, that boy's from the South. Backwoods, country, hillbilly, retard, whatever you want to call it. I've been called all those before. And then, I mean, I actually use it to my advantage. I don't care if people think I'm stupid. Really couldn't care less. But it does kind of surprise them when they figure out that I'm not completely stupid. And I find it amusing when they figure that out.
It's one of those where, like I mentioned before, I originally grew up in Michigan and I moved down to Florida. Oh goodness, it would have been back in like 2006. And so I've, experienced the North, I've experienced the South, and it was one of those where you would hear a lot of people talk, and they would have kind of like preconceived notions about others when it comes to like the accents and stuff like that. And it always kind of like threw me off guard when people would make that kind of judgment call on somebody. It's like, oh, well, they talk this way, so therefore they must be, slow, or they must not be as smart, kind of thing. And I tell you what, I've lived down in Florida for, well, like I said, since 2006, for almost 20 plus years. I mean, some of the smartest people I've ever met have been down here, and one of the people I go to the most with a lot of my problems and stuff like that, he's got the biggest southern draw that you would ever see. And it's one of those, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, and he's very insightful, very well read. And it's like I just never understood the kind of mentality of, that whole judge a book by its cover kind of thing. And just because somebody has like an accent or talks a certain way or whatever the case may be, to just assume that, oh, they must be lesser. That makes sense.
Well, the funny thing is I grew up reading the Bible. That was where I first got my love of reading. I've read the Bible cover to cover several times. Not lately, but I have. And in the Bible, it actually says, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Well, that seems pretty straightforward to me, that you don't judge people or you're going to be judged. So I have the mentality that I try not to judge anybody. Um, I take people on face value, and then they show me who they are. That's the way I look at it. And if I were to judge somebody, I will judge them on their merits, not on how they look, not how they dress, none of that, because that means nothing. You know, growing up, I had this old feller that lived in our little town. He drove around in an old 40, I think it was a 46 or 49 Dodge Ram Power Wagon. And that was the old ones, the classic looking World War II like vehicle. And he always wore overalls and a flannel shirt and all that. That man was the richest guy in the parish because I grew up in Louisiana. He was the richest guy in the parish, one of the smartest people I knew. And didn't nobody know it except for Slave View. Just not, because you just don't know.
Yeah,
That's my philosophy.
and that's a great way to look at things. It's just one of those, you don't know somebody until you know them, kind of thing. And
Exactly.
that's part of the reason why I do this show, is so we get to know people and we can kind of, humanize the person behind the screen, kind of thing. So it's it's good to see that there's other people like yourself who kind of take that same approach in life, kind of thing. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So, do you own any pets?
I got a dog. Well, actually, it's my mom's dog, but it's adopted me. Um, every time I walk out, I get growled at because she wants me to pet her.
What kind of
First time
dog is
I've
she?
ever had a dog, I have no idea. Honestly, don't. I have no clue. She's a small dog, but it's the first dog I've ever had that wouldn't just walk up to me and look at me for pets. She growls at me so that I can come give her pets. It's an interesting relationship there.
One of those sassy breeds that'll be like, "Hey, hey, don't you dare think you're walking out of this house without giving me some loving."
Yeah. Well, you can't walk out without giving the loving, and when you walk in, you best be prepared to immediately drop whatever's in your hands and give her loving too. The way it is. Her
Oh.
rules, her house, apparently. Her rules.
I've got two of my own, and yeah, they're very similar. It's one of those that every night when I come into my office here, doing shows and stuff like that, recording whatever I may be doing, they are hot on my heels, just wanting to be in the room. They're actually laying right behind me as we speak. But every night,
Uh-huh.
they'll
Uh-huh.
be just follow me in here. They'll go lay down and they'll just kind of do their own thing. But if I were to ever come into this office without either one of them, they'll sit there and paw at the door. It's like they're not in
Hmm.
here to do anything in particular. They just want to
Yeah,
be in the room with daddy.
exactly. Yeah. I had one. Now she won't come into the room where I'm at, but I have one of my other dog that's passed away. He's a big old boy. He as long as he was within 2 feet of me, he was happy. He didn't care where it was. He just had to be within, a couple of feet of me. I could be gaming, he'd be laying right behind the chair. If I moved the chair back a little bit, it'd bump into him. He had to be just sort of that close.
Just it had to be within eyesight. As long as he
Oh,
was
oh,
right there,
yeah,
able to keep an eye on you, he knew everything was
yeah.
right.
Well, technically, it wasn't just eyesight. He had to be more or less in hand's reach because he had to have the pet. Because if I moved, he'd raise his head like, "You pet me now?" It was kind of funny. He's a good dog, though.
Oh man, it's amazing what dogs can do. Like just in general, like how forgiving they are, how they bring such a constant affection to your life, kind of thing. They're
Well,
an amazing animal.
that is one thing about. I mean, I've been asked before, dogs or cats, and I always say dogs. And people say, "Well, why?" And I tell them straight up, dogs love unconditionally. They don't care about all the noise. They just love you. I mean, I've seen dogs that have been treated terribly and still love their owner.
Hmm.
You know, that's unconditional love. So that's just me.
Well, it's funny you say that because my dad's old dog, the before the ones that he has now, um, he got her because he was at a party over at a friend's house, and this dog that was completely emaciated, had no like skin on its, like it was just skin and bones, it's all it was. And my dad was asking his buddy who was the host of the party. He's like, what's the story with this dog? Like, why is it here? Why is there, like, why is it so emaciated? He's like, oh yeah, that's the neighbor. He abuses it, doesn't feed it, doesn't do nothing. And the dog ended up coming up to him, and he was giving it like, table scraps and whatever he had. Obviously he's not at home, so he can't like give it food or nothing.
Right.
um, but he's giving it table scraps and whatnot. And he's paying it all sorts of attention and whatnot. And the neighbor comes outside, and he starts calling for the dog to come in the house. And my dad walks over there. He's like, "What's the story with this dog? Like, why are you abusing this dog? It's obvious that it's being abused," kind of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the person just like basically just blew him off and all this stuff. And he's like, no, this dog's not going inside. Like, no, it's no longer your
Yeah.
dog, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the guy like didn't even fight him on it. It was like the wildest situation I had ever heard in my life. And I'm just sitting there at home, just expecting another normal day, kind of thing. And all of a sudden, boop, here's this dog. And I'm like,
Yep.
what? And this poor thing was just covered in fleas and ticks and just the whole 9 yards. It was like, we gave a bath right away, we fed it, we like the whole 9 yards. And it was that dog, when after like a day or two, was one of the most loving dogs. Just wanted
Mhm.
nothing but, just
Yep,
love and affection. And it was
yep,
just, yeah, one of those that, to this day, still miss that dog because it
yep,
was just a lover.
yep, yeah. They're just some of them are just like that.
Yeah, it was such a shame too, because like I said, she was just such an amazing dog. Was always very attentive. Would always kind of look in on you, kind of thing. Kind of similar to what you were saying about your dog there. Would want to be close by, not necessarily right on top of you, but just hey, what's going on in here, kind of thing. And
Mhm.
yeah, she just all she wanted was the love, and
Yep.
yeah, up until that point, she obviously didn't get it, and it was such a shame.
No, that's you know, I've always said that there are just some people that don't deserve pets or children, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, those tend to be the people who have both, or have
Yeah,
them within easy access is probably the better way of putting it.
yeah.
Uh,
Ain't much I
un,
can do about it. So,
yeah, well, yeah, and that's it. Um, my audience will know this, but my wife and I, we had to go through IVF in order to get our kids and whatnot, and had to jump through all the hoops and hurdles and all that stuff. So
hmm,
it was one of those where we would always be almost resentful to a small degree of, why is it that we want kids so much, and it would always come like we'd read an article, reread something, of kids being abused or whatever, and it's like why are we having to struggle so much to get this? And there are people out there who would do such awful things. Kind of, you know what I mean?
oh yeah, I'm fully aware.
Yeah. So, do you watch any sort of content like on YouTube or anything along those lines?
Oh yeah, like whenever I get the opportunity, I watch Farmer Donkey. I watch Rusty, Crustu, um, Ghosty. Yeah, there's several of them I watch. So yeah,
So, who would you
I mean,
say
I'm not,
were?
not always comment, but I usually always leave a like. Sometimes I'll comment, but you know, I have watched Daggerwin, Chainsaw 100, etc. and so on. I mean, there's just a lot of them that I'll, if I have the time, to watch everybody. I would literally need to stay up almost 24 hours straight. But um, yeah.
No, absolutely. There's so many creators out there. So, who are some of the people that you like to watch outside of the farm sim space?
Let's see. There's HBD Gaming. He's an older guy. He's about 59, so he's up around my age. He plays BF3, or sorry, Battlefield 6. Damian Fleece, he's a good buddy of mine. He plays Minecraft, World of Warcraft. I don't watch much World of Warcraft because I got sucked into World of Warcraft when it first came out, and I have finally weaned myself off of it, and I'm not going back. Um, who else? Italian Spartacus. Um, there's a few others in there as well. So I I have kind of different genres of games I watch. So like I said, one of them's doing BF6, one of them's doing Minecraft and World of Warcraft and Fallout. I do watch a couple of other Fallout creators. There's another one that does reviews like of different games. Like I was just watching the trailer for something called Hytale, Hytale. It's supposed to be similar to Minecraft. Apparently, it's going into early access. Um, yeah. So, like I said, it's just I watch several when I can keep up. Um, Oh, and Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear. For anybody that plays Helldivers, he's your guy.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, one question I ask, and it always kind of trips people up, but what I'll do is I'll ask it, and then I'll give you a few minutes to, or I'll give you a little bit afterwards with some
English.
filler to kind of think it through. So, if you could meet any three people, who would they be and why? And that can be from the past, present, Hollywood movie stars to, to anybody in the world. Who would three people be and why? And the reason I ask that question is because oftentimes the answers that people give will kind of give you a nice little like snapshot into that person's world, their mentality of who they find a value of importance kind of thing. So
Mm.
some people may say, oh, it'd be amazing if I got to meet my great grandfather. I've heard that he was, in the war, he was this, he was that, like kind of thing. Or it'd be great to meet like George Washington, or insert any number of people who may be of interest, kind of thing. So, who would three people be that you would want to meet and why?
Well, the first one I'd like to meet is God. I have questions. So that straight up just I have questions. Like, because if you think about it, our timeline, we're in 2026 now. Um, they're finding human remains from like 50,000 years ago. I'm just wanting to know what happened between 50,000 and zero. You know what I mean? So I
Mm-hmm.
have questions. So yeah, God would be probably the first one. Um, John F. Kennedy. I would be interested in meeting John F. Kennedy. Um, from everything I've seen and read about him, he was a very interesting person, and I'd really like to have a chat to him to see what his thinking was in regards to the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs and things along those lines. And General George Patton, I would really like to know his thinking, especially. I mean, if anybody's a history fan at all, especially World War II, his ability to pick up and move his army and march them the way he did, apparently he was one hell of a man. That's all I can say. And I'd just like to meet him to find out if what I've read from differing reports is true, that he was basically the somebody to look up to, like from his men. That was words from his men. So yeah, that would be my three.
Excellent, excellent. And just kind of a side note, if you're at all interested in history, like it sounds like you are, um, one YouTuber that I've been following here lately that kind of does like history with kind of a humorous twist to it is somebody who goes by the
Mhm.
name of Fat Electrician. And
Yes, I'm well aware of him.
well, there you go. Yeah, one of my favorite creators out there who like dives into history and really kind of gets into the nook and crannies of the individuals. Some like he's an amazing storyteller. So
He
that's
is.
one of the things
I,
I
I,
very much enjoy about
I,
him.
yeah, warheads on foreheads.
Yes, exactly. All right. So the last question I have for this segment here is, what was your first paying job?
My first paying job,
Hmm.
uh, throwing hay bales on the back of a wagon, getting a nickel per bale.
Okay. Okay.
It was like when I was what, 12, 13, somewhere up in there.
Okay, so pretty young.
Well, growing up in the age that I did, the whole child labor law crap, that, yeah, no, nobody paid no attention to that. You worked on a, you lived on a farm, you worked. You had chores. You just didn't pay for those.
No, absolutely. No, it's one of those that you gotta earn your keep around there. So,
Oh, yes, sir. Well, that and the fact that I mean, if you want to drink milk, you better go milk the cow.
mm-hmm.
And they're not going to pay you to do that. I mean, you know. So yeah, is I think a lot of people would be surprised at how good of a life you can have just living a simple life growing up. But that's just my thoughts.
Oh, I'm right there with you. When we first moved down to Florida, for the longest time, I was not happy with where we lived and all that stuff, and for the longest time wanted to go back to Michigan. Just wasn't happy with really just the kind of location in general kind of thing. Now that I finally have moved and moved out more into the country, because when I lived in Michigan, similar to like what you were saying, I grew up on a 300 plus acre farm. Uh,
Yep.
Outside of that, when I was a little bit older, we parceled out the farm and then we moved onto a 12-acre plot of it, and
Right.
lived there into my 20s. So it was one of those where, growing up on a lot of land and just kind of, out off the main grid kind of thing was just one of those where I enjoyed it. I loved it. And then when we moved to
Mm.
Florida, it was like my first taste of, quote unquote city living, where my closest neighbor
Yeah.
was right next door. We had about a half-acre plot of land and all that stuff. So it was a big shift in, the kind
Oh,
of way
yeah.
I lived.
Mhm.
But
Believe me, I know all about that one.
But yeah, now that we've moved and gotten away from where we were, I'm loving it down here. Loving it down
Oh,
here. Just kind
good.
of getting
Good.
back into the slower pace, not as much traffic, not as much like uh not as much headache as it was living
Yeah.
in the kind of hustle and bustle of things.
There's nothing wrong with slowing down.
No, absolutely. All right. Well, like I said, that was the last question I had for that segment. So let's go ahead and kick it over to the questions from the audience. And the first one, actually, before we do, big shout out to Dust Bunny. Dust Bunny, thank you so much for gathering up all these questions. Greatly appreciate you for doing so. So, first ones we actually got are from Dust Bunny, and she sent over quite a few. So let's go ahead and run through them. So the first one I got from her is, where do you see your channel in 5 to 10 years?
Um, no idea. Quite honestly, I don't know. Like, uh, it you know, when you ask where do you see yourself or where do you see this or that in the future, there's so many different things that you have to take in consideration. Um, People and their time. I mean, are people going to have the time to actually be able to watch the channel in the future, 5 or 10 years ahead? Um, am I going to be replaced by AI? I mean, AI can basically do what I do, right? There's so many different aspects that you have to take in consideration when you look at a question like that. I mean, I know where I'd like to see it. I'd like to still be here and doing my thing, hopefully entertaining people and them enjoying my somewhat methodical and somewhat crazy stuff that I do. But who knows? Honestly, um, I really I can't say. I don't know. That's sort of it's the best I can give. I just don't know.
And you know what? Absolutely fair enough. So, next question she had is, do you have any farming background? Which you kind of answered earlier. So, you want to kind of
Well,
elaborate on that?
I grew up on a very small farm. Um, we had a couple of cows that we milk. We had some acreage. Mostly it was bush hogging part of it, cutting hay. Um, we had about an acre of garden that we plant every year. There were three families that we fed from that acreage. Plus, we had leftovers that we gave to the community. So, it wasn't a major farming operation by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah. Um, then when I moved to Mississippi, um, my grandfather had cattle and used to mess around with the cattle for a bit. So yeah, it was a great life growing up. Like being young and being from the South, and again the whole 10 foot tall and bulletproof thing. I did some idiot stuff, but I survived it. And the good thing about that is doing idiot stuff also helps you learn more common sense. That's the way I look at it. Because if you do something stupid, you learn the hard way, and you figure out not to do it anymore.
No, absolutely. All right. Next one we got is, how did you get started in Farm Sim?
Well, I had a buddy of mine. His name's Ryan, and I lived in Australia for 17 years. He's the one that actually got me into it. Um, he got me into Farming Simulator 15, and I just enjoyed mowing grass and doing TMR because I worked a lot back then. Um, so yeah, we would get into multiplayer, and just he'd create this big farm, and he'd leave me to do the mowing and uh, hooking up with the TMR stuff and all that stuff, and running silage, of course, because at that time silage paid really, really well. So yeah, that's who dragged me into it. Ryan dragged me into it, and I've basically picked up every farming simulator since 15. So yeah,
Well, and that actually led to the second question, which was, what was the first FS you played? So, Farm Sim 15. So, you've been around for a bit here in the series.
a little bit
Let's see. So, she also asked, what content creators did you follow in the beginning?
in the beginning. Oh,
In your farm sim, when you first started getting into it, were there any farm sim creators that you followed right from the very beginning?
honestly, no. Like it was only in I think when I started in Farming Simulator 19. Yeah, I think it was Farming Simulator 19 that I started watching Daggerwin, and there was another one I was watching too. I can't remember who it is. I'm still subscribed to them. Um, but it was just those two. Same with 22. But you have to remember, I was driving trucks um, during that period. And as a truck driver, you have about a 14-hour work day. Sometimes it can be 16 to 18 hours. And then you have a 10-hour break, supposedly, which doesn't always work out to be a 10-hour break. So at most, I usually got about a 2-hour window per night that I might be able to play or watch videos or something like that. So my time was somewhat limited in regards to playing and watching videos from content creators. So it's only sort of in the last, I don't know, 8 months or so that I've actually expanded my roster of people I watch.
So when you were driving, were you able to like play in cab kind of thing, or
Well, not when you're driving, but yes. When I shut down for the day, um, I had I have a laptop, a gaming laptop, um, and I had a Wi-Fi hotspot that I'd set up. It was a business Wi-Fi hotspot with a 100 gigabyte download. Um, and I set that up in my sleeper to be able to game when I had the opportunity. Like there might be a couple of days that I could game for a couple of hours or even 6 or 8 hours, and then not be able to game for the next 2 weeks. So, it just, it's kind of a hit and a miss with how much I was able to do gaming wise.
gotcha. And let's see, you kind of touched on this earlier, but she asks, which content creators do you follow now? So you mentioned like
Yeah,
Farmer Donkey, and you mentioned
yeah,
Rusty
yeah,
Money, and several
yeah.
others there.
Press to, yeah, yeah. There's several that I follow. Um, all of them bring a very unique perspective to the game. Like, you know, how I do things. Like I'm somewhat methodical in the way I build my farm or my homestead. Whereas some might not do it, that they might be a little bit hodgepodge, or they might have a different outlook on how they place things. Like I might, eh, like some of them, like I didn't mess around with goats very much when I was, even through all the farming sims that I've done, I didn't really mess around with goats all that much. Sheep a little bit, cattle a lot more, but not dairy queens. That's what I call our dairy cows. Is I just call them dairy queens. Um, so I didn't really mess with them like the dairy queens. I did more beef cattle because that's sort of what I grew up with, was beef cattle. Milking a cow by hand, yeah, I did that. Um, I did do the machines a couple of times, but yeah. Um, yeah, there's every. It's really interesting because like you watch Crust 2 and he's got his way of doing things, and that's really interesting. And then you watch Rusty, and they can be playing basically the same map or the same tile, but they've got a completely different way of how they go about things. It's really interesting how that works.
Oh, absolutely. It's really cool to sit back and watch other creators out there because of how diverse their way of doing things can be. And what's really cool is you can learn a thing or two if you're sitting there and paying attention to the things that they're doing. They might do something different that's like, oh, hey, I didn't know you could do this that way, kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. Like I say, it's good because sometimes you can get ideas. Like Rusty, I like watching Rusty because he's about like me. He likes to do a little decorating. He likes to make the farm look like a farm. You know, um, adding in some hedges or a tree here, and little trash pile there or whatever. I'm not big on trash piles. I'll go ahead and say that right away. But each to their own. Um, but yeah, like I said, he does things that I probably wouldn't do. Like he'll add like a broken down harvester, whereas I just put an old harvester out there that's not broken down and wheels falling off and stuff. But like I said, each one of them has a different thing that you can look at and say, I might want to try that. And it's like, or they might find a mod that they put down and, oh, well, I like that mod. I'm gonna go hunt it up. or you can get recommendations for mods that might help you in your specific game save that you're doing, whatever. It's just really good to be able to watch and get different perspectives.
Gotcha, gotcha. And what features would you like to see come to Farming Simulator?
Oh boy. Well, okay. So I had a little bit of a rant about this the other night. Back in FS22, if I told worker A or whatever you want to call him to go up and down that field, he'd go up and down that field, seeding it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell him to do that right now. Apparently, he has to do headlines and he does up and down. But if you tell him you can't tell him just to go up and down it. Apparently, we wanted that. I didn't want it, but apparently somebody did. If I have a square field, I want him to go up and down. I don't want him to do headlands. Now, I might want him to do headlands when he's harvesting it, but not when he's seeding it. So I would really like to have it to where we could actually have him to be able to go up and down the field. I think that would give us the option. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it one way, basically. But I mean, if I've just got to the point where if I want to go up and down on the field, I do it myself now. Might take longer, but at least I know it all gets done. Um, I think they need to fix some of the physics they have in the game. Um, I have a video coming out tomorrow morning, and if you watch it, I have my tractor and I'm hooked up to my weight on the back. Well, the weight has a trailer hookup. Well, I went to hook up to the trailer, and the trailer jumped up, took the tractor up with it, bounced a few times, and then put me on the side. I'm still trying to figure out how that worked because all I did was connect to it. So I had, I literally did not move backwards or forwards. I just connected to the trailer. So that was interesting. Like, hmm, okay.
You gotta
I
love
mean,
that
like,
farm sim logic.
oh yeah, the physics are amazing. It's like I was telling Dust Bunny, I was cruising along. I was on Welker's Farms. I didn't record this, but it was hilarious because I was cruising along and I was going through a cornfield, so obviously I couldn't see crap. And then there's the road out there, and I didn't realize it, but I had not timed it well. And I came out and there was a little car right in front of me, and I hit it. Now, mind you, I've got stuff on a trailer, and I'm doing like 60, 80 miles an hour through this cornfield. I hit this car. The car doesn't move. Me and my pickup truck and that trailer go flying. And it's like, wait, wait a minute. I just hit a car doing like, let's just call it 70 miles an hour with an F-350 with a freaking load of lumber on. And you telling me the car didn't move? What? This makes no sense.
Y-
Anyway,
oh
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. No,
I was like,
I know exactly what you're talking about there. I actually
okay.
I just came across one of the shorts that I did for my channel the other day. I don't know why I came across it or but I clicked on it, I'm watching it, and I was doing a series with my cousin, and we were sitting there. He had parked, for some reason, he decided to park a cotton harvester on the train tracks. And the train comes by, hits the harvester, makes it go flying into the field. And I'm like, okay, very melodramatic, like not really much going on there. So he
Mhm.
starts going out of the field and heading behind me. So I pull a U turn and I start driving behind him. Well, he's fully loaded with something. I have an empty trailer, so I'm going a little bit faster than him. I catch up to him and I clip the rear of the trailer, just but almost like a pit maneuver, but just to the trailer. And
Mhm.
somehow, some way, he goes from driving perfectly straight to jackknifed on his side and just kind of bent inwards on the road. And it's
Mhm.
like, I barely touched him. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I mean, that
Yeah.
was a thing.
Well, I mean, it's like okay, the physics. Um, it's like me the on one of my games I was playing. Um, I was running around in my F-350. It was a new map. It was a Louisiana map, actually. And I was just I was just checking it out because I never, I just loaded the map up and I was doing a kind of a drive around to have a look. And I saw this hill. I have a bad habit of jumping stuff because I just think it's fun. So I jumped this hill and I went over the top of it and found out there was a pond down there. And I landed in the pond with my F-350. It went to the bottom and I got put back up on the surface. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I tried to swim down to my truck. Why can't I swim down? Like, you know what I mean? Like we can fish in this game, but you can't swim down. Interesting.
uh,
Okay. Um, and then of course I reset it and whatever, but still, how is it that you can fish but you can't swim in this game? Um, so yeah, there are a few things now. Like I really like. It, I don't know about everybody else, but I seem to recall like in FS19 and FS22, there seemed to be a lot more tractors, a lot more equipment that you could use in the base game than there is in FS25, like base game FS25. Uh, I've actually like gone in and like looked, and they're very little amount of like tractors that you get in the base game. Like I have a ton of modded tractors in there, you know. Um, I, I don't know. I just don't understand. It's sort of like we have how many is it add-on packs we have now? Like 4 or 5, I
mm-hmm,
think.
mm-hmm.
And like one of them I don't even use. That's precision farming. I might use it at some point, but right now I'm kind of doing a pre 2000 save, and I don't think we really had precision farming in pre 2000. Um, but then you look at the Mercedes pack and the plains and prairies and stuff like that, and I got to looking at it. It's like I got the Nexit pack. I don't think I've ever used anything out of the Nexit pack or the Highlands fishing pack. I haven't even been fishing yet, but yet I have all of them, but I don't really use anything out of them. Um, I use more mods than I do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of find it curious that for a game that calls itself the farming simulator game, we don't have a lot of tractors. We don't have any older tractors. Like they bring in all these really new ones, but it's I guess they rely, I think, too much on the modding community to fix their game, basically, in regards to equipment. Um, or maybe they just couldn't get a deal with Ford or John Deere or Massey Ferguson or whoever else it might be, and they just didn't include them. I don't know. I just think that if you're going to pay for a game, um, the DLCs should actually be worthwhile. That's just my own personal opinion.
I can't say as I disagree. So let me ask you this. Well, actually, it's another one of Dust Bunny's questions, not mine.
Yep, sure.
So she asked, "Do you have a favorite map and why?"
Um, I actually don't have a favorite map at this point. Um, I mean, I do actually like the map I'm on right now. The map I'm doing right now is called Lonely Valley. And that's mainly because it's, well, I'll take that back. I do have a favorite map, and we don't have it in FS 25, and that's No Man's Land. I
Oh,
loved
great map.
No Man's Land. Unfortunately, we don't have it in FS 25. Um, I doubt we'll get anything like it. I don't think Alien Gem's doing um, that side of things anymore, but I love that map. Um, yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a few map makers out there who've made like a No Man's Land esque style map, but it's yeah, there's definitely a couple that are on their way that I'm aware of, and some of them do have promise. So definitely be on the
Well,
lookout for those.
I'm just saying, like, I Alien Gem had it for what was it? No Man's Land was 19 and 22, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Um, like I said, I'm playing Lonely Valley right now. Um, it's interesting. I actually kind of like it. It's all spruce wood on there though. I'm not real fond of spruce, but yeah. Other than that, I think it's great. It's got a pond on it, which I find really cool. But yeah, other than that, I haven't done a ton of playing in maps. I did Ray County, Missouri for my first series. I did Welker's Farm, which is the Welker's Farm map. I did a challenge for Rusty, and I'm doing Lonely Valley right now for my own personal homestead challenge that I'm doing for myself, basically. So, yeah, I haven't had a lot of maps in FS25 that I've done. I did one. What is it? Riverbend Springs or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something like that. That one was kind of cool, but a little bit of a pain in the butt.
Let's see.
I did
Next
like
question.
the river.
Yes, yes, that was a very good feature in it. Let's see. The next question she had is, what type of maps do you prefer to play on?
Small. Like I've always played on smaller maps, more preferably toward the you have to rely on yourself type map, not the ones that have got everything in town, so to speak. Um, I just kind of like wilderness type maps, more no man's land style, but I don't mind some with, a few things. I don't like crowded maps, if you know what I mean.
Okay,
Like maps that have like 100 freaking farm plots on them. No, thank you.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And then last question she has here is, do you realistic or quote enhanced realistic?
It depends on the gameplay. Like the one I'm playing right now, like my current map, I'm playing as close to realistic as possible. Like not enhanced, but yeah. Um, like on Welker's Farm, though, Welker's Farm has some really, really big plots of land. So we went somewhat um, unrealistic. We went some of the lizard colossus stuff,
Okay.
but you know that's Well, I mean, if you got one freaking plot of land and you got basically 40 acres of grass, um, I do have some limitations on my time. So, you know, I can't sit there and mow a field for 3 hours. I have other things I need to take care of. So yeah, it's like what was it? The first field that I bought on Wilkes Farm was number one. I think that was 50, not number, it was number two. I think that was 58 acres and it had green beans on it.
Oh,
Have you ever harvested it with the in-game green bean harvester?
no.
Yeah, I highly recommend that you do not. Just get the lizard one and be happy. Because I swear to you, it took me 5 hour in-game hours
Oh,
to harvest that field.
I
It drove me insane.
yeah, no, no, thank you. That's one of those where so I host a Sunday show with Will T Gaming that goes over mods, maps, and the news, and I got into a bit of a rant on the new products that we have in game, the green beans, peas, and all that stuff. Not only the equipment that we get, but just like how everything's all kind of set up. So yeah, no, that I could only imagine going through and having to harvest a field that size with base game equipment. Nope. Nope, nope. I would
Yep,
just turn the game off at that point and be like, I'm done. Just throw my hands up
yep,
and
yep. Well, let's put it this way. After that experience, I already had the Lizard Colossus pack installed. I had never used it. Guess what got used?
yeah. Yep. Thank you, Chris and Riley S, for that brilliant, brilliant pack.
Absolutely brilliant. Uh, Thumbs up to them. Several thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Dust Bunny, thank you so much for all your questions. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Next question we have is from Farmer Donkey, and he asks, grits or oatmeal?
I don't eat oatmeal, so grits it is.
And then he had a follow-up to that. If grits, how do you like them?
Usually cooked,
That's always a
preferably.
good way.
Just saying. With a bit of butter.
Oh, classic. Classic. Let's see. Farmer Donkey, thank you so much for your questions. We got one here from Ghost Tech Gaming. He asks, who inspired you to do more live streams that are in present farm sim community?
Dust Bunny. She keeps telling me that to do more live streams. I don't know why. Um, but apparently she thinks that I do pretty good on live streamers, I guess. I enjoy it. I like interacting with people and everything. It's just sometimes I don't have the opportunity to be able to live stream for a very long time. So it's only, maybe an hour, 2 hours tops. Um, so yeah, Despiny kind of pushed me toward doing a bit more live streaming, and I've been trying it out. See how we go.
Gotcha, gotcha. And again, Ghost Tech, thank you so much for your question. We got one here, actually more of a statement than a question from Rusty Money Gaming. He says, "You're doing great, old Grizzly. Keep up the great work and take it day by day."
Well, that's some wise words there, Rusty. I greatly appreciate that. But I think everybody should do that. Everybody just take one day at a time. But Rusty is one of the people I greatly appreciate. I respect him very much. He's a great guy. Um, I try to get over and watch his videos as often as I can, but sometimes I just don't have the time, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Rusty is a really, really good dude. So many great people out there in the community. You mentioned several of them earlier, but yeah, definitely such a great group of people that make up the farm sim community.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Let's see.
there's some great people in this community.
Rusty, again, thank you so much for your, again, more of a comment than a question. Let's see. Dust Bunny says, dog is God spelled backwards. God gave us dogs to show us his unconditional love. You know what? No lies detected.
I can agree with that.
No lies detected.
I
And
can see that.
she also says that her son is a General Patton fan as well as a World War II buff.
Well, he definitely should be watching The Fat Electrician then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Dust Bunny, if you get an opportunity, recommend the Fat Electrician to him. I think he'd get a big kick out of him. But
If he likes any of the World War II naval stuff, he should look at I think his name is Drakenfell.
oh, that's not a name I'm familiar with.
Yeah, if he likes World War II naval stuff, I believe it's Drakenfell. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He does a lot of World War II naval stuff.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Well, that's the last question I have for this segment. But I'm looking at the time here, and we're already 2 hours in, and we haven't even touched
Yeah.
segment number two. So as I
Oh boy.
mentioned before we went live, gonna check in and see how you're doing. If you want to continue, or if we need to start, wrapping things up here.
Um, well, I mean, I guess we can go a little bit longer, but I'm going to need a bit of a break. I'll need 5 minutes, do the
Oh,
whole bio thing,
sure, sure.
things along those lines.
If you need to take a break, you go ahead, and I can go ahead and chat with the group here and kind of go from there.
Yeah, if you can give me about 5 to 7 minutes, I should be good to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Take your time.
All right, appreciate it. I'll be back soon. Thanks for your patience, guys.
Alrighty, everyone. First off, I want to thank everybody so very much for coming out here tonight, hanging out with us. Hope you are enjoying the show so far. We're going to give Old Grizzly just a few minutes here to go do his thing and then come on back. But yeah, no, having an absolute blast here so far. Like I mentioned, we are already 2 hours into this stream and we haven't even touched segment number two. So that should tell you the quality of conversation that's going on up until this point. So, big thank you to Old Grizzly for doing this and being a good sport, going a little bit extra. Oh, and we've got a raid going on right now from Gold Gaming. Gold, how are you doing tonight, bud? Hope you're having a fantastic night so far. I see Miss Lisa. How are you doing, Lisa? Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Let's see. Who else we got going on here? Let's see. Oh, I see Insane Sim Guy. Thank you so much for stopping in. Hope you're having a fantastic night so far. Same to you, Lisa and Gold. Hope you all are having a great day so far. Ultra Gamer, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic one so far. Let's see. Who else is in here that snuck in that I haven't been able... Taco de Groot snuck in here earlier, but I see he ran earlier, so that's okay. Taco, thank you so much for stopping in earlier. We had Ghost Tech. I saw him in there. Let's see. Also fielded a question. So, who else? Ronnie Johansson. Ronnie, how you doing? Hope you're having a fantastic one so far. Thank you for stopping in. Hope you're still in here. Let's see. Like I said, it's been a really good talk so far, and I hope that everybody is really enjoying it. I absolutely love doing this show. Love being able to present people to you, being able to have these in-depth conversations, being able to hear people's stories. One of the things that I've always said, and when I originally came up with the concept of Farm Sim Talk, I was just going to do this for the modding community, the map makers and modders that were out there. And it dawned on me relatively early on that no, you can do this for everybody in the community. So I opened it up to content creators, pretty much anybody who's connected to the farm sim space. And the reason that I did that was because it occurred to me that even though, people like myself, content creators, people like Old Grizzly, um, who produce content, yes, people might be more familiar with us than the average person, kind of thing. But unless you are a meticulous follower of of my channel, of other people's channel out there, you're only going to get bits and pieces of that window into our lives, of who we are as the people outside of the content, kind of thing. And if you follow somebody out there who maybe doesn't do live streams or anything like that, who's just strictly doing episodics or doing tours or doing update, whatever, then you're really going to have a very limited view of who that individual is. So that was the whole point behind this show, was to kind of humanize the people that are inside this space, kind of thing, because we're only getting, small snippets here, small snippets there. And that's why I originally started with the modding community, is they're probably the people that we know least about. We basically interact with their mods. That's the majority of the interactions. Some of us may go a bit deeper and go onto their Facebook page, or may go into their itch, or whatever the case may be, and kind of get a small, deeper level to them. But really, they're not sharing so much about them as much as they're sharing about their process, kind of thing. So it's one of those where the whole show was predicated on the thought of being able to get that deeper connection with the people that are inside this space, kind of thing. And I hope that everybody out there is enjoying it. I hope everybody's learning something about the individuals that are on, this show. If you haven't seen, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to this show, go check out my playlist there. I've got over 50 episodes of Farm Sim Talk. Actually, we hit 50 with BB Mods. Just would have been last week. 50 episodes of Farm Sim Talk. Holy smokes. When I first started this, I was like, I thought this would be cool. I thought that, hopefully people enjoy it and kind of go from there. But it's really kind of taken a life of its own. It's really become something. And, I've got, quite a few of you out there who are really into the show. And I've gotten to know so many people by doing this, so many stories, so many great individuals. Like I mentioned before, being able to talk to, people like Rusty, like Farmer Donkey, like Dust Bunny, like Insane Sim Guy, just so many people out there. Gold Gaming, getting to talk to every single one of these individuals out there and get to hear their stories and get to hear who they are, kind of behind the scenes. Farmer Cop, is another one I've got to talk to. Getting to hear about everybody has just been an amazing experience. And I want to thank each and every one of you who has signed up, who has come onto the show, has participated, has made for a great experience. It really, really has. So many people have been so gracious and generous with their time and just making it to where we are today, kind of thing. So thank all of the guests I've had, in the past, in the future. If you're not keeping up with it, on Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be hosting Ross and Mods on the channel here. So again, that's 9:30 p.m. on Friday, Eastern Standard. So check that out as well. Looking forward to that one. We've Ross and Mods and I have interacted over on Agribusiness Tonight, the Sunday show. Really, really nice guy. He has gone so above and beyond, out of his way, to be able to make this Friday's episode happen. And what I mean by that is he lives overseas, and he was willing to set up a time to be able to do it on my schedule, on the Eastern time zone schedule. So big shout out to Ross. Really looking forward to that one as well. Let's see. What's everybody chatting about here so far? Ba, ba, ba,
If I
ba.
could
Oh,
interject something real quick,
yeah, absolutely.
I just want everybody that's in the chat, um, for you guys showing up, just wanted to say we definitely appreciate you taking time out of your day to come join us here. Um, I say that in every one of my streams or my episodes that, you guys, time is a precious commodity, and I appreciate anyone that's going to take time out of their day just to sit down and listen to me or to Dave or any of the content creators. You guys, 100% great.
No, absolutely, 100%. By the way, if you haven't, go check out Old Grizzly's channel. I've got it linked in the description below. I also have it displayed underneath the image of Old Grizzly. And go check out his channel. Hit that subscribe button. Go check him out. Show him some farm sim love, and let him know that hey, we appreciate everything that you're doing here for the community. So uh, like I said, we are now on to our second segment here. We call this Meat and Potatoes, emphasis on potatoes. This is where we're going to get to know you for more of your
I'd
content. Oh, I'm sorry, what was
rather
that?
be rather be more interested in meat personally. I'm a carnivore, so
I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. Give me some good old steak or sausage. Oh, I'm
oh
a
yeah.
happy
Mhm.
man.
Happy, happy.
But so let me start out with this. What's the story behind your channel name?
Okay, so Grizzly was my gamer tag for a very long time. Um, Old Grizzly came about because I got older and not quite what it used to be, so just kind of put it Old Grizzly, and it's OLE because when I went to put in old OLD, it well, somebody had it at the time. That was like, so yeah, it's even like working in Australia. I worked as a in the transport industry down there, and everybody just knew me as Grizz. You know, knew my first name. It was just Grizz. Because most of the guys I work with, we all game together as well. So yeah, it just kind of extended from there.
I gotcha. And how long have you been creating content for the farm sim community?
I haven't been doing it for very long. 3 months, I think, maybe somewhere up in there.
Is that when you started your channel, or is that when you like started
That's
just
when I
farm?
actually started the channel. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, heck, like I said, everybody go out there and check out his channel and hit that sub button. Cause yeah, I mean 3 months and hey, let's show some love. But let's see. So you've been doing this for about 3 months. Um, in that 3 months, what would you say has been like one of your greatest experiences up to this point?
Um, the live streams. I really enjoy those because as much as I was kind of hesitant to do them, the interaction between everyone and myself, and I mean, like, here I am plowing the field. I don't know about everybody else, but I mean, I enjoy plowing the field, but watching somebody plowing a field, kind of boring, to be quite honest. Um, but it also gives you the opportunity to have a conversation about, well, basically anything, you know? And I think that's one of the really great things is that you can have a conversation. You can talk about farming sim. You can talk about plans for what you want to do with your homestead or your farm, or you can talk about everyday stuff, or give some inspiration to someone, or listen to somebody that's having a bad day and say, look, Bad days happen. It's that whole up and down of life. But it just gives you that opportunity for interaction and hopefully making somebody's day a little bit better.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because you and I had similar experiences. My channel is a little bit old, about 3 years old at this point. And for the longest time, I was extremely hesitant to do anything live whatsoever. So it was just one of those I put it off, put it off, put it off until finally my brother in law reached out to me. He's like, hey, you really should do this. You really ought to do lives, and it will give you the opportunity to interact with your audience and kind of give them a window into who you are, kind of thing. And I mulled it over, and it was just one of those I was still really kind of hesitant. It's like, you know what? I'll try. I'll give it a whirl. And if I don't like it, then oh well, not a big deal. And yeah, the first time I did it, I was hooked. It was just one of those being able to interact with people, kind of having that conversation that was more kind of off the cuff and candid kind of thing, and wasn't really kind of structured or anything along those lines. It really kind of allowed you the ability to kind of, I guess, quote unquote, be free, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So it was a great experience, and I haven't been able to do as much as I'd like to here lately, but hopefully that's going to change. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. So you've only done this for about 3 months now, but what was one thing that has happened within that 3 month span that you never expected to happen? So some examples that I give are like finding out that sense of community, any kind of unexpected backlash, or anything along those lines. And like I said, 3 months is going to be a very limited kind of window for this question, but figure I'll ask it anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, so I can give you some examples. Like, I've been in the World of Warcraft community, I've been in the Battlefield community, I've been in a lot of different communities in the gaming area. You know, I have to say that Farming Simulator is one of the best communities I've seen, like beyond a doubt. Very welcoming, very supportive. Yeah, just fantastic. Not something I expected.
Gotcha. And would you consider Farming Simulator to be your favorite game, or and if not, what would be your favorite?
Well, I have to say that Farming Sim is probably, well, maybe not FS25, but FS22 is probably my favorite game. 25 is pretty good. I do enjoy Farming Simulator, otherwise I wouldn't have every one of them since 15. Um, you know, I, I I didn't even buy all the freaking Star Wars games that came out. So, you know, yeah, I'd say it's probably one of my favorite games. I probably have more time in Farming Simulator than I have any other game in my Steam.
Gotcha. And we kind of touched earlier on what you consider to be your most favorite map. Do you have a map that you kind of have as a least favorite?
Um, um, I don't know the name of it, but it was one that I tested out. Um, and it was very tight. Like I don't know the name of it, but it was just very tight. Like all the areas that you were trying to get into, it was almost like you needed much smaller equipment. Almost like you need to go back to like the old Oliver tractors and stuff like that to be able to fit through the gates and some of the little openings and stuff like that. That really, really annoyed me. I think it was one of the European maps, I think, but I just can't off the top of my head. I can't remember what it was.
Okay. Yeah, one of
and
the
I deleted
example
it. So I was like, nope, not doing that one.
One of the examples that I give when it comes to one of my least favorite maps, and it was more that it was my least favorite because I was the most disappointed by it. I
Mm,
believe it was back in it was either 19 or 22. I think it was 19. There was a map called Southern Cross Station, and it was an Australian map. And it really caught my
really?
interest because there was hardly any Australian maps at that point in time, and it came out
Right. Yeah.
extremely early in the game.
Mm,
And I went into it, and it was beautiful. It was very kind of wide open and just
mm,
kind of very different from what I was used to because I started playing it back in FS19. And it
okay.
was one of those that up until that point I'd stuck to basically American maps and basic, open square fields, not a lot of things that were going on kind of thing. Because I was still learning, still trying to pick things up. So that was like my first big adventure into something other than what I was comfortable with. And when you would go to like the sell points, and it happened at pretty much all the sell points, you would look at them coming, like approaching the sell points, and it was these huge mega structures, big silos, big everything was just massive. And you would get to a certain point of where the sell point actually was, where you dump off your grains, and if you spun the camera in certain angles, everything at this sell point would just disappear. Like all the silos, all the like just would just boom, gone.
Interesting. You sure it was Australian and not a Texas map?
No, it was definitely Australian.
You know, everything's bigger in Texas.
I and
Supposedly.
and I tell you what, the way it kind of looked, I mean, it could have been like a more generic kind of American map, like a kind of bigger,
Yeah.
because it had the big fields and all that stuff. But it specifically read in the description, this is Australia and all this stuff. And like I said, it wasn't that I didn't like the map; it was just that seeing that was just so disappointing, and it stayed as the 1.0.0.0 version. It never received an update beyond here it is, it's released, and basically the map maker just wiped their hands of it and we're done. And I was just
That's
so
kind of
gutted,
sad.
so yeah, so disappointed because it had so much potential to it. But
Well, unfortunately, eh, like I'll download maps and then I'll go in and test on maps. So like when I was getting ready to do my most recent um homestead um series, I went in and I tested several maps. Um it's like Ray County. Like I don't mind the Ray County, Missouri map. However, I did find out that in the Ray County, Missouri map, I actually got more grass off meadow grass than I got off grass that I planted. It was actually in the map that way. So like you were getting I think it was double or triple the amount from meadow grass that you would get from planted grass. So that was kind of weird. Um, but there were other maps like I can't remember the name of all of them. I downloaded something like 30 maps. I think there was one called I think it was called I don't remember the name of it. Was it Rolling Meadows or something like that?
mm-hmm.
And I got into it and it was just I was looking for a very specific type of map, which is basically as close somewhat as close to no man's land as I could get. And every time I look at one that said that, it's kind of no man's land, um, yeah, it was just not quite what I wanted. And then there was I think it was the survival 4 by map.
Okay,
Um,
I'm familiar with that one.
big acreage, big acreage. But like the where the Was it survival? No, it wasn't. It was another one. I can't remember the name of it. It was somewhat similar to the survival 4 by, but it had a little gas station and it had a dealership, but the dealership was partly off the map. And inside the dealership, there was grass growing. And I'm thinking, what? You know what I mean? Like, you can't put the dealership completely on the map, and then you got a little bit of mound of grass growing in the dealership. It just seemed like they were somewhat careless in the way they placed everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask anyways. If you could pick any map throughout all of FS history to come to FS 25, which one would it be?
Yeah, you know the answer to this. No man's land.
No Man's Land. It is a great map. It is
I mean,
absolutely a great one.
that's probably never going to happen, but Um, all I can say is Alien Jim did a fantastic job on that map. Like literally fantastic. I have not found another map yet that is basically its equivalent. Not yet.
Which is really
Now,
kind of interesting to think about because if you really think about a map like No Man's Land, it's I'm not trying to sound like I'm degrading it or anything, but it's a very simple map. You know, you've
yes,
basically got your sell
exactly.
points in the south. You've got in the basically the complete other side of the map, you've got your very modest starting farm.
Hmm.
But it's just one of those that I think it's because of its simplicity is what drew so many people to enjoy and love it so much. And
Well,
go ahead.
that's part of it though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the funny thing is that everybody seems to think that we need all these bells and whistles, right? On these maps. I mean, like you got 4 starting farms that you can have or blah, blah, whatever. Plop down a map, make it reasonable, make it simple, and just let someone do it the way they want to do it. That's what I feel that's what people want. They want to build something. It's no different than back in the day when uh, similar to what I was talking about the Homestead Act of 1862. You got 160 a quarter section of land, 160 acres, and that was on you to build it up the way you wanted it, not the way somebody else envisioned it. Let you build it the way you want to build it. Just make it simple. You don't need all the bells and whistles. Plop a sell point down, be happy. I think sometimes that I mean I think the modders in this game are great. I wish some of them would not go quite so crazy on some of the mods. Like making a mod that pumps out 12 pieces of furniture in 1 month. I mean, that's kind of unrealistic for something that's big around as a thimble. Um, but simple maps allow people to explore their creativity. That's the way I see it.
No, 100% agree with you there. 100%. So, how much of the farming simulator news do you keep in touch with? Like, how much do you follow in regards to the things that are happening behind the scenes in Farm Sim?
Nothing. I like surprises.
Okay, so when FS25 was coming out, you weren't really familiar with any of like the kind of updates or features or anything along those lines?
Nope. I
Okay.
do. I have to say that they were. I do remember reading something about deformation of land and all that, and I was like, I don't remember asking for that. Okay, whatever makes you happy, I guess. I mean,
S-
there were a lot of other things I could have thought of that would have been more important than me being able to get stuck in mud or something. Um,
mhm.
want to go get stuck in mud, I can just go down the gully here on my 12 acres and it happen, especially after the rain we just had. I don't really want to do it on farming simulator, especially when you don't even have a winch or chains for me to be able to pull the dang thing out. Really? Not much
Yeah,
forethought went in on that one.
no, exactly. Yeah, without having a way to rescue yourself, getting stuck doesn't sound fun. But
No, not impressed.
so thinking about when you started playing FS25 and you kind of saw the differences between what you saw in 22 coming to 25, what was that one thing that you're initially like, oh, hey, this kind of feature is really cool, but after you kind of experienced it with like a little bit of longevity, what's that one feature that you kind of soured on?
Deformation.
Deformation? Okay, okay.
I mean, in all honesty, when I first bought FS25, after looking at all the, looking at the lack of equipment, um, the prices of some of the equipment, the lack of any real, smaller equipment, because I actually prefer to do smaller builds. I almost considered just going back to FS22, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Um, I, but I bought the game. I said I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna see how we go, and I'm gonna wait, and hopefully there's some fantastic modders out there that will give us some stuff that we can work with here, and they have, you know, um, which is good because otherwise I would say that Giants kind of dropped the ball on FS25, in my own personal opinion.
Yeah, and big shout out to the modding community out there. I mean, they do a fantastic job, working so hard to bring the mods, the maps, everything that they bring to the game to continue to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, and yeah, without them, it would be a radically different experience. So big shout out to every single modder out there who's bringing us the content. We greatly appreciate every one of you. So what kind of maps do you prefer to play on? Do you prefer like a more wide open, almost like American style, or do you like the more tight, compact, like UK style?
Um, See, I kind of like a map that I can sort of use my own creativity on. I don't mind if you like. I remember, what was it in? Was it in FS19? What was that one that you had? It was one of the starting maps. Um, Westbridge Hills, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Westbridge Hills?
Yeah, I kind of like that one. Um, like it wasn't a huge map and it didn't have huge plots, but it was kind of cool. You know what I mean? So I kind of enjoyed that. So I guess I've tended toward more U.S. style, but not Kansas, Iowa, big wide open areas, or Montana type stuff. More Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, smaller fields type stuff, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I gotcha, for sure, for sure. So, what style of farming do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to work in your fields? Do you prefer doing forestry, grass care, husbandry? What's your kind of go-to?
Well, it's one of the reasons I created the series I'm doing now. I wanted to, okay, I'm sort of a realist. And to me, if you started a farm right now in this day and age, and somebody, if the government looked at you and said, okay, you can have 100 acres, but these are the requirements, um, you got to have a quarter of that of your land in forestry, a quarter of that land in animals, a quarter of that land in cultivation, and then you have a quarter that's your homestead that you can sort of build around and do as you will. to me, that seems like the wisest course of action because you need to diversify yourself. To rely solely on crops or solely on animals or solely on forestry is kind of silly because, well, in game, an oak tree can grow in 2 years. That's not going to happen in real life. I mean, but you can plant tree farms. Like here in Mississippi, we have, I think they're called loblolly farms, loblolly pine.
Okay.
You can farm those. You can plant them and farm them in, I think it's 10 years. So if you've got a rotation going, you can be farming that every 10 years, like, forestry doing every 10 years, while also having, crops that you can pull out of the ground, while also having animals that you have. I mean, back in the day, um, you know, 1862, you would have had to have crops. You would have had to have animals. You're going to need the milk from your animals. You're going to need crops to make bread and blah, blah, blah. You'll need pigs and blah, blah, blah. So to me, I'm one of those people that kind of think in a realistic way of trying to diversify. Like Welker's Farm, it's really hard to do forestry on Welker's Farm because there's no trees.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I could have planted trees, but starting out, there wasn't anything there. Um, so I mean, me personally, I prefer dealing with animals. Like I like doing dairy queens and beef cattle. That's just me. I enjoy that. But I also like mowing. Also like planting crops. Like I'm at a point right now in my game save that I really don't know what to do in some aspects because like I've got, I don't know, 6 fields I've plowed, and I'm planting sorghum because I'm planning on putting chickens in, and I'm planning on putting a bakery in, and it's just like, do I really need these many fields? You know, I don't know. Um, but then I look at maps like Welker's. I mean, I did that. I think I bought one of the fields on it, and I turned it into a sorghum field. I got 156,000 liters or so of sorghum off of it, and I put it into an ethanol plant,
Wow.
which used up 156,000 liters of sorghum in 2 months.
Oh.
And I'm like, hmm, okay then. That was unexpected. That's the first time I'd ever used the ethanol plant. I'm like, hmm, okay. That field that I got that off of was like 60 acres.
Wow. That's a good
And
chunk of sorghum.
I'm like, hang on a minute. I just put 156,000 liters into a plant and it ate it in 2 months. What? That's, I guess that's one of the issues I have with the mods is that some of them are just so insanely fast. You know what I mean? Like really, really fast. And then others are, it's like I got one now. I have a production control mod that I have that allows me to change up the percentage on what the production's at. And I got this carpentry mod and it builds furniture. That's all it builds. So I put my wood in it. It was 100%. I didn't even get furniture out of it for the first 2 months. So I bumped it up to 200%. I'm getting one pallet of furniture out of it per month.
Wow.
So like it's sort of like a feast or famine depending on the mods. So yeah, it's interesting stuff.
So, as a content creator, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start in the field?
in content creating,
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing gaming, find something that you love, like a game that you love and are passionate about, and do that. Do content on that game. It's like anything in life. Um, if you are just like, say, you want to start a self-help channel or a gaming channel playing, I don't know, Minecraft. If you're not into Minecraft or you're not really all that enthusiastic about helping people, those channels probably aren't going to do much, and you're going to hate it eventually. Um, it's like my kids growing up. They were like, "Well, mom wants us to go to college and do this," and it's like, "What do you want to do?" Well, I don't know. Well, you don't have to know right now, but find something that you love and do it. That way, it's not so much of a job. It's actually something you enjoy. So it's not so much work, so to speak. So that's what I would recommend for any content creator. Um, find something that you love and do content on it.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot easier to do something over and over and over again if you have a passion for it.
Well, um, okay, I'm 11 episodes into my new series. I've got over 100 hours in that game save. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't still be here on that game save.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like truck driving. I love driving trucks. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it for as long as I did. So yeah, find your passion and use that to fuel what you do for work.
No, absolutely. So, last question I have for this segment is, let's say that knowledge wasn't the issue or anything along those lines. Let's say you had all the abilities to go ahead and do modding, right? So, if
Hmm.
you had all those abilities, all the prerequisite knowledge, if you could make a map of any place in real life, where would that map be based off of and why?
Okay, so I would probably do it. There's the possibility of a couple of locations. Um, I would probably do it somewhere either in Arkansas, that would be located around sort of like what's the name of it? I'm trying to remember the name of the town. It is around Dumas, which is southeast of Little Rock. There's a lot of farming that goes on around in that area. It's somewhat flat, mostly flat, but it's interesting. Um, or in the Mississippi Delta region, up around Greenwood. Yeah, up around Greenwood. Although I would possibly consider it somewhere around where I live, um, but maybe go back a few years before all the development stuff started.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Well, like I said, that's the last question I have for this segment. So let's kick it to the
Cool.
audience once more to see what questions they have. Again, Dust Bunny, thank you so much for gathering these up for me. She does have an additional info and question to what we were saying earlier. She says Alien Jim has stated he only uses his maps twice, and then he retires them and will not bring them back. No Man's Land has been retired. Ugh.
Joy.
Dust Bunny, you have crushed my soul.
Thanks, Test Bunny. I appreciate that so much. Just, yeah, I mean, you should have just grabbed the knife out and stabbed me with it. It would have been easier, nicer. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Reality hurts sometimes, and that one definitely is painful. Oh,
Well, if he could create something similar to it, though, I think we would all be pretty happy with it. I mean, he did a fantastic job on that, so I have no doubt he would be able to create something just as good.
you know what just occurred to me is that he did create Western Wilds back in FS22. So there is a possibility of
Oh, there you
something like
go.
that coming back.
There you go. It's a
Wishful
possibility,
wishful thinking, maybe, but
possibly.
keep our fingers crossed and hope. Dust Bunny, thank you again so much for that one. We got a question here from Insane Sim Guy. He asks, "What did you enjoy most about No Man's Land? Was it the enhanced growth cycle, the layout, the freedom to do whatever you wanted, etc.?"
Well, first of all, I didn't know anything about the enhanced growth cycle, so that wasn't it. However, I did enjoy the layout. Um, it wasn't so much the layout where the starting farm was, but just the layout of the map itself. Because it did, leading into the next part of it, it did give you the freedom to do whatever you wanted because you didn't literally have to buy that starting farm. You could have started anywhere on that map, anywhere, and you would have the freedom to do basically anything you wanted. I mean, I I started up around the starting farm, um, and then I bought land in a track down to where basically the sell point was, and I added as you drove out, I had the commercial area which had the BGA, it had the rock crusher, it had all this other stuff, and then you kind of got out into the farm areas beyond that point, and I just thought that was a kind of cool way to do things. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, ISG. Greatly appreciate it. All right. And I do see one question here in the chat from Farmer Donkey. He asks, "How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?"
Well, none, because a woodchuck can't chuck wood.
There you go. Farmer Donkey. Thank you so much for your question. And
Love
that's
you,
it.
farmer doggy.
That is all the questions that we have there in chat. Again, I want
That's
to
cool.
thank everyone so much who participated in the chat. Greatly appreciate it. And now we're going to head into our third and final segment called That's a Silage Wrap. It's where we start closing things
Mm.
out. And I want to thank you, Old Grizzly. Excuse me. Old Grizzly, I want to thank you so very much for participating in the show tonight. I had an absolute blast with you here tonight. We have been going on for almost 3 hours now, so that should tell
Yeah,
you just how much this has been, how good this has been.
yeah, it's past my pumpkin time. You know that, right?
Uh oh, uh oh. Well, we better wrap this up pretty quickly. So, all right. But again, I want to thank you so much for coming out here. I had an absolute blast here with you tonight.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed Dave. And it was good to have a chat. Great to be able to see everybody in the chat, be able to thank everyone publicly, and make sure they know how much I appreciate them. So I appreciate you giving me a platform to do that.
Oh, it was my pleasure. And do you want to remind us where we can find you?
Um, my channel mainly. Um, I'm in several discords. I'm in Rusty's, Ghosties, yours, Dust Bunnies. Well, yeah, I guess you can basically find me anywhere. I think.
Excellent. And do you have any future plans or projects that you're working on that you'd like to share with us?
um, I'm thinking if I can get the time, I might be doing a let's play um, instead of challenges. I think the last three, like every one of my series that I've done so far since I started my channel, has been challenges. And I think I just want one that I can kind of kick back, prop my feet up, and just kind of relax and, you know, just have a little bit of fun. Um, Other than that, any further projects? I don't know yet. I'm probably going to be trying to do a little bit more live streaming. I think that's a good thing.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, like I said, that's pretty much it for the show here. I want to thank you again, Old Grizzly, for hanging out with me here tonight. And the audience, thank you so much for hanging out. And this is the point in time where I turn to the audience and say, did you enjoy it? If you did, then let me know any suggestions of who you would like to see come to the show and do this interview. If you've got a favorite creator out there that you want to be highlighted here, unfortunately, I'm unable to keep up with everybody that's out there. So your participation in that point, is very, very, very helpful. If you are a content creator, modder, map maker, farmer, whatever your connection is to Farming Simulator, I mean, you're more than welcome to be on this show. The only aspect that I require is you've got to be over the age of 18. If you're not over the age of 18, unfortunately, can't have you on the show. But if you are over the age of 18 and you have some sort of connection to the farm sim world, feel free to either reach out to me or forward me the individual in question, and I will do my best to reach out to them and get them onto the show. You can contact me on any of my social medias; they're all listed down below. And yeah, that's what we can do and continue the show and hopefully get some more new and interesting people on here. Again, come check me out on Friday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be hosting Ross and Mods. That ought to be a very fun show. Again, big shout out to Ross making the time available to us. He is located overseas, so him being able to set up time for 9:30 p.m. is a huge, huge what's the word I'm looking for? A huge I guess benefit, for lack of a better word, to us in the show. Otherwise, we'd have to try and schedule. It's certainly a huge benefit to me. So I greatly, greatly appreciate him being so willing to set up that time in order to do it. But like I was saying, hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please show him by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things. The algorithms enjoy you doing. This shows you're engaged with this channel and enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care. Old Grizzly, just hang on just 1 second until after the outro, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Roger that.
All right. Take care, everyone.
This is Farm Sim Talk with BDD. Let's roll. Out here in the country, where the roads run wide, there's a world behind the pixels that we're bringing to the light. From maps to mods, to the rigs we drive, we're talking to the folks who keep this farm life alive. It's Farm Sim Talk with BDD. Come pull up a chair and ride along with me. Stories from the makers, the builders of the scene. Farm Sim Talk, where we live the farming dream. He's got questions rolling like a big John Deere.